Well, welcome to part 4 in our video series on how to build this particular type of home addition. And first thing we're going to do here, in this one we're going to be working on the roof and the ceiling and the sheathing fascia board. And first thing I want to do is find the center of the building. Now I'm not in this video here, in the purpose of these video series is to provide you with different ways to build something and a few ideas in there on maybe why you might want to do that. And this one here, you can order a truss roof for it. You can build it in a few different ways. But here we're not going to use the standard method for figuring the roof rafters. We're simply going to find the center of the building and come straight up. We're going to come up here. You can use a plumb bob or a level to find the center up here at the top of the rafter. And again, this is a truss system on this house. And here we have the end truss, the gable end. And I have to point out that I have conventionally figured. I've figured the conventional roof rafters for a situation like this, and been disappointed that the roof truss, let's just say I thought it was a 5 and 12, was like a 4.5 or a 4 3/4 and 12. So if you are working with a situation like this, you can figure the roof rafter. Just make sure you double check it. You know, you can use math to figure out the height here, or you can measure it. You can measure from here to here and use the roof rafter formulas for figuring roof rafters, or you can just simply measure it, which would involve pre-cutting the seat cut and the fascia board into the fascia board, something like this, and getting it to where the top is even. Now I am using a 2x6 because that's what the span would probably work. I don't think a 2x4 would work for this. The 2x4 for the trusses actually has some type of a support where the 2x6 isn't going to have that. But the 2x6 is running past the center of the line here. And we're going to mark the center and then cut it so that we have our first roof rafter. And then we're simply going to cut another one. We're going to use this as a pattern and cut a second roof rafter here. And then make sure that everything is working out. This rafter is going to be the main, you're going to have to make sure this one here blends in with this roof. If for some reason you were to cut this rafter and this rafter was going to need to be an inch longer or an inch shorter, you could readjust the measurements to make it work out accordingly. You could move this over a little bit. Or you could just simply leave it as it is. Who's going to notice a ½ inch or an inch on a roof like this? And that's kind of the beauty of this system here. So you might not have the same size on each side of the roof, but it's really not going to matter for your home addition. So I need to point out that the rafter is even with the top of the framing, but it's not going to be even with the bottom. We have a 2x4 here and a 2x6 here. So to make everything blend in, we're going to go ahead and cut the rafter tail down. We're not going to cut the 2x6 rafter down, just the part that sticks over for the overhang so that everything will look nice and blend in. And pay attention, because I'm actually on this rafter here, I'm going to cut it. I'll shape it later on in the video because I don't need a double rafter here. And at the very end of the video, you'll see why. So here we have the rafters lining up, but we need to install a ridge. But before we do that, we will go ahead and move the rafters over a little bit. And we can always use some screws, screw them into the fascia board here. And then we're going to use this to mark the fascia board. And to do that, all you need to do is grab a 2x4 and then mark it. This is going to give you a little bit of room so that you can install your roof shingles underneath this area. If you're going to be using tile, this might need to be cut a little further, but you can always do this later. But if you're not and you want this to be closer, then you'll have to figure out what that is going to be. Usually 1.5 inches or something like this works out pretty good. And then we will simply cut the fascia board and then move the rafters back so that we can now start working on deducting the rafters for the ridge. And since the ridge is going to be a 2x8, we will simply deduct 3/4 of an inch off of each one of the rafters. And you can do this before. You don't have to do it in the same order that I'm working on it here. It's just sometimes it's easier to use these rafters without the ridge cut to fix the fascia board here. So then you can install the rafters on the other side and the ridge. Now, you don't have to do this part first. If I was going to do this, I would install my ceiling joist first and then throw some plywood on top, some of the roof sheathing I'd be using. Put it on top of the ceiling joist and then start working on my roof. That way I could have an area that I could walk on. So that's just something else to consider. Again, I'm not building each one of these examples the exact same way. I'm trying to give you a couple of different methods or some different ideas of what's something that might work for you, might work a little better. So here we have the ridge and then 4 rafters cut. Do not use your pattern. Make sure that you put like I always put the number P on it or put a pattern in there. Write the word pattern on it. You do not want to install your roof rafter pattern and then realize that it's installed. You're going to have to take it back out or cut another pattern. So that advice right there is probably worth the time you spent making it this far in the video. Next up, we will install the ceiling joist. They'll be 16 inches on center. And you can see here where we have cut the one rafter here. I cut it so that I could take the block and nail it up against here. So we don't need a double rafter here, but that's not going to be a big deal. If you install it to where you have 2 rafters on the overhang, it's really not going to be a big deal. Trust me, not going to find too many people that are going to notice that. But you might need to shape the top of the ceiling joist. And to do that, you might have to have a rafter in place so that you can mark it and then use one as a pattern to cut the rest of them before installing them, obviously. Not a good idea to cut these afterwards. Better to have them cut, otherwise you're going to be walking up here. I'm not saying you can't do it that way, but if you can, cut the ceiling joist, cut the edges if they need to be cut, and then install them. 16 inches on center, like I said, 2x6. There goes our roof rafters. They are going to be 16 inches on center also, and they will connect to each one of the ceiling joist. Next up on the list, we will install the gable studs and the ceiling backing. Now I left 14 inches in between the center here so that we could put a gable vent in there. You can always have a board underneath here, a brace support board underneath the ridge if you're not going to put a gable vent in there. But a lot of times you're going to need ventilation for your ceiling in your home addition. You can always do that with a roof dormer vent also. 16 inches on center, and if you notice, I didn't have it. I had this cut off previously, but you want to have the ridge extend past to support the fascia board, and that's usually going to be 12 inches. So the distance from here to here would be 10.5 inches. Then when you put your fascia board on, the overhang would be 12 inches. But again, it's not going to be a big deal if you make that a little longer or a little shorter. And you can see here where the gable studs are lining up to make the end of the wall nice and flat. Take a look at our ceiling backing, a 2x4. Look at it from inside here. 2x4 just would nail to the gable studs. View of the corner. Now if you notice the rafters here, I don't think the engineer is going to have a problem with this. But again, you'd have to check with your own engineer. These are just ideas. You can't take and build a house like this anywhere around the world and expect, hey, I did it from a YouTube video. No, I'm sorry. These are just examples of possible methods, and of course things that I've done in the past. I have actually done this before in the past and had the seat cuts extending past and then nailing to the ceiling joist. Never had a problem with it. Now let's go ahead and put the blocks in and the fascia board with our lookouts. Fascia board here is going to be, we're going to cut it back. I think the fascia board came to about here, so we cut it back to here so that we could nail it into a rafter, get us some nice solid nailing. And now you can see here where the block is that I have. This rafter came and it stopped here, and I nailed the block. This gives it a nice finished look at the when we look at it from the underside after it's all completed. Everything's nice and flat here. Wanted to give you an idea of what the corner might look like, and the fascia board might need to drop down. We need to line, if you were to set a straight edge on top of the rafter, then the line would come to right here. So if you're going to be installing your fascia board, that's going to be a good idea to use some type of a straight edge to make sure that the top blends in. If this was going to be, the edge of this board was all the way to the top, it's not going to look very good. And of course the bottom, it's not uncommon to have a bottom cut like this from the angle of the fascia board when you're coming into a horizontally level fascia board, and then you have one matching the roof pitch. Now I wanted to point out that I provided you with two different examples. Here we have a lookout that is at the bottom here, and here we moved it up a little bit. And my reasoning for doing that was to give you an idea of how this could actually weaken the overhang here. I mean, if you see when we cut it here, we only have 2 inches here, where if we move it back, we're going to have a stronger part of the roof rafter here. But if we cut it here, this right here might not provide us with a nice structural or enough strength, I should say, with these 2 rafters here to create a strong enough corner on the roof. And this could actually break. If it was to break, you were using roof tile, for example, and longer overhangs. Let's just say that I had a 30-inch overhang or a 3-foot overhang, and then here I had this going out 24 inches. Something like this would definitely be a problem. If the fascia board was back about 12 inches, and we had the fascia board here was even with, it was basically just 1.5 inches overhang, maybe with a 3/4 inch spacer between the fascia board and the roof rafter, then it might not be a problem. So here's one way to look at it. If I take and move the lookout up a little bit, then I got a lot stronger section of the roof there. And then the fascia board here butts in. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about finishing this, but it's not a bad idea to put some type of building paper in between. You want to make sure that it is attached to the building, to this wall here, and then nail your rafter into it in your fascia board. That way you create somewhat of a watertight area here. If you don't do that and someone comes in and they finish it, you could have some gaps in here and end up with some water leaks in the corner. Next up on the list, we will install the roof sheathing, 1/2 inch OSB, and I did this side a little different than I did this one, of course, to make some points of what your engineer might want to see. And if you remember, in one of the earlier videos, I pulled off the whole sheet of plywood. I think it went from about here over. And that's so that I could put a full sheet in here and then create a nice tie, nice structural tie between the 2 buildings. If you have a situation like this, or if I was just to use the existing sheathing and then install the new sheathing in it butt up against here, then you might need to install some type of straps over the roof sheathing with some blocks even with the bottom of the roof sheathing, and then nail them to it to tie the building together. Another problem you could have, your building inspector might not want to see a small strip like this, so you might have to do something like this. So you're going to have a little more waste, but 24 inches would be the smallest piece here, and this of course would be larger than 24 inches. So something like this would make your engineer and your building inspector happy. So pay attention if you have a set of plans. Pay attention to this. I know a lot of people, they go in and they nail all their sheathing down. They do something like this. They put the little strip in there. Then the building inspector comes along, pulls out the plans, and then schools you on it and reads to you where you should have read this before. So make sure you read all of the information you can in the building plans, especially when it comes to this right here. Now, if you remember, I didn't install any collar ties. You can always use straps. And again, that would be something that, if it's on the plans, you might not have an option to install collar ties. The engineer might want straps. And if that's the case, the straps are going to nail over the rafters. And these ones here are spaced 32 inches on center. Yours might need to be 16 inches on center, depending upon the engineering. And here's an example of the fascia board that we cut. Here we now have a 1 inch space between here, which would probably work out fine for composition shingles. And then you would roof underneath that. So your roofing materials would go under here. Now, if you notice, I have a 1x4 here. This is going to be so that you can install some type of metal for the waterproofing. I say waterproofing. I don't like to use that word. Water resistant. It'll get a piece of metal here, and then and this will all depend. If you have a stucco wall here or siding, then you might need to cut it. This to tie it into the building on this side could actually take you a few days to do it, to complete the whole process. So this isn't going to be something you're going to be looking forward to. But there it is, your Z-bar backing, your home edition, and now it's ready for framing inspection if we got everything on the plans. And as I promised, this right here gives you an idea of what we did when we cut the rafter here so that we could install our block over it instead of having the double rafter. That is it for the video, and I don't know if that's it for the series. I'll put a link somewhere in the video or a link in the video description box to the any more videos that I make on this particular building design.